everyone, this is Lizy with the LizyT radio show and TV show. So I'm doing this video because I'm getting a lot of questions about how does the LizyT show got started. What made you create, what made me create this show, and how did it happen? So for me, in order for me to do that, I'm gonna have to take it all the way back, all the way when I was a little girl. I think I've given a couple of speeches about this already through my Toastmasters and through venues that invite me to speak, motivate, I guess. So I will start from the beginning. Once upon a time, I'm originally, for some of you that don't know, I'm originally from South America, Chile. Grew up there, was born there in the south of Chile, and my parents moved to, I was born in Santiago, the capital, and my parents moved to the south of Chile. That's where my mother originally is from. A lot of you have never heard of this TV. It's called Coyipui. And later on, my father, the entrepreneur of the family, and that's where I think I get my gift. I call it a gift. My gift from, he moved to the north of Chile. Some of you Chileans, friends, and family that follow me, it's called Iquique, and this is where we grew up. My dad was a jeweler. He loves jewelry and watches and gold. That was his thing. Watches, antique, and things like that. He had a store, and he loved it. He always made money doing that. However, he always had the you know, the grass is greener on the other side kind of mentality. And I remember being little and working with him and having that, listening to what he used to say to customers and listening to sell and listening to negotiate. Those skills were, you can't teach that. You have to grow up. And I'm talking little, 5 years old. My father used to take me to the store instead of staying with a babysitter. And that for me, it's a learning that no school can ever give you. So, being in north of Chile, Dad had a store, had a watch and jewelry repair store. I grew up with him. I went to work with him. Yes, I did go to school in South America, and I think still like that. It's half a day, so you go either in the morning or the afternoon. So I went in the morning, and in the afternoon I went to the store and I worked with him. He also had a restaurant. He also imported potato. That was my grandfather's idea from other parts of Chile and brought it to Iquique. Long story short, my father moved to Brazil. Again, that carrot always, my dad is always looking at the other side of the fence, and Brazil was where my other uncle is, my dad's brother, and he wanted to try it out to see what Brazil was better. Maybe it was better. So he moved to Brazil, and we lived there in a beautiful, beautiful city. For Brazilians that are watching, and they're probably familiar with Salvador Bahia. Beautiful place, beaches, unbelievable, a dream. And he opened up a store. After he bought it, after he worked with the owner for a couple of years, maybe a year and a half or so, and he worked there with the intention to buy the business off from this fellow. He was a Japanese owner, a Japanese fellow that owned that store, and my dad worked with him until he was, he looked like he was going to retire, so my dad took the opportunity. And one thing I admire about my father is that he didn't really have any money when he moved to Brazil, very little. And when he offered to buy the business from this Japanese fellow, again, he didn't have very much money, but he told him, I will work it off. I will give you installment until the business is mine. And that's what he did, and the business became his. and it grew to, he bought the next door, and the next door. It was like the whole complex was his. And again, I was working with my father alongside him, and I learned lots. And I remember my dad telling me 3 things that are very important in an entrepreneur's life. Make sure you have a good lawyer, a good mechanic. Well, back home, those are very important, and a good accountant. And I keep those things to myself, like it was, like it's today. I do the same thing. I have a good mechanic, I have a good lawyer, and I have a fantastic accountant. Ian, hello to you. Thank you so much for your help. And so Brazil was it. We loved it. We were living the dream. We had a beautiful home, 5 minutes from the beach, and we were basically just happy as we can be. We were kids, 13, I was 14 years old, something like that, and we could go to the beach, cross the street anytime we wanted. I was going to school at nighttime at the time, so the whole day I was working with my father, and we had everything we ever wanted. Until my dad made enough money that he wanted to take a month off, and he came to Canada. Canada was a dream come true. For some of you who are watching in the States or different parts of the world, some of you know that Canada is one of the best places to live in the world, and he fell in love. I came in the summer because some of you know that Canada has one of the harsh winters, and so he came in the summer and he fell in love. His brother, my other uncle, invited him, and he stayed and visited, and that was it. He came back to Brazil and he said, we're moving to Canada. So I was about 17 and 19 years old, 18 to be almost exact, and Canada was my new home. We sold everything. We sold the business. We sold everything, and Brazil was going through some political issues, and we couldn't take the money that my dad had saved up. So again, we came to Canada with, if I'm not mistaken, with my father only brought $17 to his name, or something ridiculous like that. Even 20 years ago, that wasn't a lot of money. And so we started all over again. My father started all over again, and just to make things worse, English wasn't, we did start a bit of English, but it wasn't fluent, and so English was a struggle, the culture was a struggle, everything was a challenge. But my dad is the type of person that doesn't give up, and always wanted to make sure how would I turn this situation around. And I learned that from him as well. Time went by, not even a year, and he opened up another store. This was a jewelry, watch repair, and an antique shop. He did really well. English was at minimum, not a lot of it, not fluent at all, but that didn't stop him. What I'm trying to get out of this is that there's a lot of trials and a lot of struggles when you're starting a business. And as you can see, moving from 3 different countries and starting life all over again, and you can manage. And that's what my dad did. He definitely was able to overcome all those hurdles and all those difficult situations, and I learned that from him. Coming back to the LizyT show, I remember when I was in South America, one of the things, especially when we were starting, my dad was starting the businesses, we didn't have a lot of money, and for me to give a gift to my parents, I had to act up. Act up meaning I had to act. I had a theater kind of show, or my gift was a presentation, let me put it this way. So I called my brother, my sister. They didn't want to participate. It was a lot of struggle for me to try to convince them, let's do a little theater for my parents as a gift. I pick up curtains from bed sheets and things like that, and I made a theater very humble, and we act things up. And one of the things that I remember is acting things like having a TV show, interviewing my brother about how great my parents are. And that was my gift as their anniversary or birthday to them, is acting up as I was a TV host, or maybe doing a little sketch. And that was my gift. They applauded because, you know, they liked the show, or they just wanted to say, yeah, good job. And so that was really how I got started. When I came to Canada, I started working for my uncle. I started having different types of jobs, which is nothing wrong with that, obviously. And I cleaned hotels in different places that I lived in Canada. But in the back of my mind, being an entrepreneur, being self-employed, having my radio show, that was always there. Although I kind of, you know, that little voice, I just shook it away. And working and telling my kids one day, make sure nothing stops your dream. And I used to tell the story about my father all the time, their grandpa. Obviously, after being in Canada for a couple of years, I met a Canadian. So I'm married. I have two beautiful little girls that I talk about all the time. And one is just turned 14 and the other one is 12. But about 4 years ago, I was telling my girls, follow your dream. Nothing should stop you. Don't let anybody tell you can't. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking to myself, what is my real dream? And it was crazy how I just stopped and brought me back to the day that I was acting a theater or a presentation or a fake interview with either a pencil or a stick. I can't remember what I used, the back of a comb or something like that. It wasn't a real microphone. And I was just like, wow, I am not doing my dream either. So how can I tell my kids, follow your dream, follow your passion, if that's not what I'm doing? So I did a little bit of research on the internet, and I wanted to find out what does it take to start your own radio show, or what do I have to do? Where do I have to go? Where do I have to sign up? And I found this place where I use to this day Blog Talk Radio, which is a great platform to start with. And I was really shy. I remember starting once a month, if I'm not mistaken, Sunday night, because I figured nobody's going to listen Sunday nights. If I suck, if I don't do well, nobody's going to complain. And so I kept doing it once a month on Sundays, and then I got more confidence, and I started doing it every Sunday instead of once a month. And then I started seeing that I started to get followers, and that kind of motivated me. And one of the things that I love about being an entrepreneur and trying something out, when you have a little bit of feedback, when you have something that you're good at and somebody's noticing or saying good things, you just keep going. And that's really what happened to me. I kept going because I got feedback. And that was phenomenal. That was so great. I felt so good. One day I got an email from a listener, and she said, she's actually from the UK. She said she heard my show, she loves my style, and she wanted me to interview. When I Googled this lady, this is a big deal in the UK. She was coming to Canada to talk about her books. She's a coach. And she asked me how much I charge. Obviously, I was doing this for myself. I was doing this for free. And I wasn't charging anything because I wasn't interviewing anybody. I was just talking about different topics. My husband, by the way, is a photographer, so I started talking about a little bit about photography. We have here in my home studio, we do pictures. And I start talking about that, and so obviously that was just a theme at the time. And I said, well, how about this amount? And she says, great. What is your PayPal account? I had no idea how to open a PayPal account. So by the way, she called after. While talking to her, I Google and I asked, research how to open a PayPal account. Obviously, I find out this was easy. I opened up. This is my email. You can email me right here. And the rest, everyone, is history. The LizyT radio show took off like wildfire. We are doing the shows every day now in the evening. I find the evenings is great because people that come from picking up the kids or coming back from work, they can listen. It's recorded, so you can listen later on. But we get a lot of interaction now. It's not just recorded, but we get callers calling in. And that changed into the LizyT TV show. And the TV show basically was kind of the same idea. Do you know, somebody called in and asked me if it was only radio that I did. She wanted video. My husband being a photographer and a videographer, sound technician, and he knows a lot of lighting, I said to him, how about we take our camcorder to a customer prem and we do a video LizyT show. And again, that took like wildfire. And we started doing, we don't do it every day, obviously. It's once a month, the TV, because of the editing, the time taken. My husband and I, we do it all ourselves. We don't have anybody that right now that does it for us. So, yeah. So that is pretty much it, in a nutshell, how the LizyT show got started. So, let me see here. I got some more questions. Do I like it? Love it, love it. This is one of the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. For you that are listening right now or watching, would you like to do something like this? I can so help you. I can so help you. It is so easy. The first, second, third time obviously is going to be unknown or something foreign because you're not used to, but the third and the fourth and the fifth time it's going to be a piece of cake. So if you're interested in me teaching you what I do, I love to connect with you. Right here in the bottom I will have the links for workshops that I love to come up with, and I'm working on some workshops. So this is going to be great for you that have that dream to start something like this, a TV show or a radio show. We have followers over 48 countries now, and this is, if you asked me 4 years ago if I will be doing this, I would say you are nuts, crazy, no way. And I'm so happy and privileged that this is something that took off out of me talking to my kids and realizing that I wasn't fulfilled, realizing that I wasn't doing all what God put me here in the earth to do. So this is a life learning experience for me, and I'm still learning. There's so much that I have to do, and I'm taking workshops. I met somebody great that I'm looking forward to have more learning and more things that I can pass on to you as well. So, lesson is here. Just as my father, a great dad, a phenomenal teacher, gave me, I want to give to you. Unfortunately, the end of the story doesn't have a happy ending. My father had a massive stroke last year, so he's not doing too well. Business for him is not what it used to be, but I'm here to take care of him, and the whole family is, and we're very supportive, and I will take care of him as long as I live, because what he taught me, it wasn't just to be a good father. He taught me how never to give up, and I wanted to teach him what he taught me. Don't give up. You can get your speech back at it again, and you can be the old self that you always were. So those are the questions. I think I think I needed to say this, and I needed to give back and answer those. How was it that the LizyT show got started? So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you follow me, and if you have any more questions, please write it here below on my social media. I will be happy to answer anything that you're curious about me. I am your host and the producer of the LizyT show. And talk to you soon. Hi everyone, I'm Lizzy. I am the host and the producer of the LizyT radio show. I am here to answer some questions that all of you all over the world have been asking me. How did you get started with the LizyT radio show and TV show? And I'm here to answer all of those questions. I'm going to take you back on a little I'm going to take you back to when I was a little girl. So sit tight, and I will introduce you with me. One of my daughter's best friend. Don't be scared. He made a little noise. So there you go. This is Cleo. And Cleo is a beautiful, beautiful little reptile. My daughter is into reptiles, so isn't she gorgeous? Okay. I think she's getting a little bit stressed out, so she made a little noise.